We begin to search this scripture, and I've heard this scripture all my life, and I love it because I begin to think about, what these lepers really had to deal with. I was sitting here, and I begin to think about leprosy, and leprosy is depicted as a serious, unclean condition, both physically and religiously at that time. If they were deemed a leper, they could not be around anybody. Scripture tells us that they call out to Jesus, Jesus, Master, have pity on us. There's sometimes when our situation is so bad, we don't have a whole lot of words to say. We're just saying, Jesus, do you see me over here? A little later in that scripture, out of the 10, only one comes back. Now, as they're walking, they realize that they're cleansed. Now, in my imagination, I could imagine I probably would have been shouting the flows down. I would have been praising and dancing. I would have been telling people I don't have to live in isolation no more. I could see they didn't have phones back then, but I could see somebody, I'm going back to my village. I ain't seen my family in years. So they were celebrating and going on about their way. Never thought to go back. Scripture says out of the 10, only one came back. The other 9 received their blessing and they kept walking. How many of us receive our blessing and don't go back to God and tell God thank you? How many of us receive the things that we prayed about for years and we forget all about the God that we would say, God, if you do it, I'll never give up. God, if you do it, I'll turn around. God, if you do it, I'll pray for my kids. And then when God does it, we don't go back no more. I told 10 of you all to go, but where are they? Where are the other 9? Let me tell you something, church, that Jesus notices gratitude. And we've got to understand this, that we've got to be grateful for where God has done in our life.